Hey guys, Herman number for guys. Now this movie reviewing. This is a movie that I definitely was looking forward to seeing ever since I saw the trailers for this movie. This is by far one of the most anticipated movies for the rest of the year. Definitely was really looking forward to it. And let's just get into it. That movie is none other than Doctor Strange, which is probably the movie on everyone's mind this weekend. Well, that and Hacksaw Ridge, which I am going to see that as well. But I was definitely really looking forward to this movie. Not just because it's a Marvel movie, but because of the fact that this looked like a very different type of Marvel movie. And those are some of the ones that have really been the standouts, like Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man. I mean, this really did look like something different. And I was very excited to see what this movie was going to be like. Also, the cast, I thought the movie had a lot, going for it. And just in general, I was really looking forward to Doctor Strange overall. And no surprise here, Doctor Strange is another great Marvel film. I overall really, really love this movie. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but overall, I definitely really did love it. I think it definitely is another great achievement for Marvel. It's nowhere near as good as Civil War or Deadpool, but I'll talk about that. But let's get into the plot of Doctor Strange. The plot of this movie is very basic. It basically is an origin story, but we focus on our main character, Stephen Strange. He is a very narcissistic, but also very talented and very skilled neurosurgeon. He's just very good at what he does, and one day he has a life-threatening car accident where he can no longer use his hands for like the rest of his life. His hands are just going to do this, and the regular medicine isn't really working, so he ends up seeking out West medicine, where he ends up encountering this this whole mystic arts and everything from this character called the Ancient One, and starts to realize that he actually might have powers and might be able to use his new powers to his advantage, and basically starts to realize the dark stuff that's really going on with the mystic arts, and basically tries to find a place and how he fits into all this. And that basically is a plot of Doctor Strange overall. There's definitely more to this movie than just that. I'm going to get into that, but let's get into this movie starting off with the cast, because I definitely do have a lot to say about it. Now, one thing that I don't just think this movie, but our Marvel movies really do have going for that is the cast. I think every movie, they really do know who to cast when it comes to the characters, and I think they've done that very well for basically every Marvel film so far, and this film is no exception. In fact, I think this is by far one of the best casts we have ever had for a Marvel film. That's one of the reasons why I was most looking forward to this movie, and happy to say that the cast really did deliver. I think everyone really did give a great performance, but let's just get into the cast, starting off with our main lead here, Benedict Cumberbatch, who obviously is perfectly casted as a character of Stephen Strange. I mean, I think ever since we heard there was going to be a Doctor Strange movie, people wanted Benedict Cumberbatch, and to actually see him play this role is incredible. I think he did a really great job, because this is one of the first movies where Benedict Cumberbatch is actually using an American accent, which it's weird at first, but once I got into the character, I definitely did get used to it, and I think overall, I really like what we got with Stephen Strange, because Stephen Strange could be your typical asshole, who thinks he's a know-it-all and just very stuck up and things like that, which he definitely is. He definitely does have that Tony Stark-esque humor to him. You definitely do see that. But you also do understand it, because everything he does, he tries to put 100% into. When he is a neurosurgeon, he tries to be the best neurosurgeon he could possibly be. When he's a sorcerer, he tries to be the best one he could possibly be. And I found that to be very compelling about his character. But he's also very confused, because he doesn't fully understand a lot of this stuff. He's very human in that regard, and I think they did a really good job with that. He's not a perfect character by any means. This isn't someone that knows everything. This isn't someone that's as experienced as some of the other characters was. I think they did that really well with this character. You can definitely tell that Benedict Cumberbatch is having a lot of fun with this role. They actually did give him some really fun stuff to do, and I definitely really did like what we got with his character. I thought overall he definitely was very compelling, and overall he really does carry this entire film. I think that's one of the big things I'll say about any Marvel films when it comes to these origin type ones. The lead has to carry the film, and that's absolutely what Benedict Cumberbatch does. He steals the show. I think he gives by far the best performance out of anyone in this movie. He really was fantastic. I love what he did here, and definitely one of the best parts of this film by far was just seeing Benedict Cumberbatch. I still can't believe we actually did get him playing this role. He is incredible for what he does, and I can't wait to see more of this character in future films by far. But that's not to say the rest of the cast isn't just as great, because they really are. I really think everyone did a really great job here. Rachel McAdams is in this movie for a little bit, definitely as a character, Christine. She doesn't have a substantial role as you think she does, but I like what they did there. They could have easily made her, just a actress that's just kind of there, but they did some funny stuff with her overall. She's the only character in this movie that you would think isn't really involved with the whole magic stuff, but she actually is. They found a clever way to put her into that, and I like the way that their relationship, you know, Strange and Christine's relationship, her character, was actually a big part of the movie. I thought overall they did a really good job. You definitely do see the chemistry between these two. It's not romantic yet. You know it is probably going to get romantic, but they did a good job of not rushing into that. I thought they were going to, but they actually don't in this movie, and I like what they do with her instead. She definitely was really good. Definitely really good stuff with her. Chiwetel Ejiofor is a character I really do want to talk about. His character of Carl Mordew is by far one of the most compelling characters I've in this movie by far. I really did love his character. This is someone who is a very dedicated student, you know, of the Ancient One. He's kind of been like the Ancient One's, you know, apprentice and everything, and he has had so much expertise from her. You definitely do get the sense that she approached him, and you can see he's slowly starting to get jealous of Strange, and there's a lot of clashing between these two throughout the movie, and you really do believe it. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor really did a great job with making this character human and not making him come across as an asshole, because I think, you know, lesser actors could have made this character just be an asshole and very one-note, but because of how good of an actor Ejiofor really is, he really gives this his all. He really did a great job. I think any role Chiwetel Ejiofor really puts 100% into, but you definitely do see with this role, he really did do a great job. I really did like what they did with him overall, and he's not really a villain, but the way this movie ends definitely is a very intriguing way for his character. I'm going to get into that when we get into spoilers, but I really did love what they did with him overall. I thought overall. Now, something this movie, I think, doesn't really tell you from the trailers is that this is actually one of the more funnier Marvel films. I think all the Marvel films are quite funny. This is by far one of the funniest. I mean, this movie had some really great humor, particularly because of Benedict Wong as this character of Wong. This guy, I love this character. I mean, they did some really great jokes with his character. I really love what they did with him. It's a recurring joke between him and Strange, but every time they did it, I actually thought it got funnier and funnier as it went on, and it could have gotten old, but they did a good job with making it something different. I thought overall it was just a lot of fun to see. I really did like his character. You could tell that Benedict Wong was having a lot of fun, so he definitely was really good here. Definitely like what he had to do. And then Tilda Swinton in this movie as well, of course, is a character of the Ancient One. I thought she also was really good. They could have given her maybe a little bit more to do, but overall, you really do see her training with Strange. You know, you get that bond between these two. You get why she sees something in Strange, why she wants to help him overall. They really did a great job with, you know, focusing on their relationship and showing why she cares about him so much. She definitely did a really good job. There was a very predictable twist with her. I definitely will say that towards the third act of this movie that I definitely did see coming. But I thought overall she did a really good job. Really did like what she had to do here, so she definitely was really good. And then, of course, I think just like Benedict Cumberbatch, the other actor I was most looking forward to in this movie was Mads Mikkelsen as a character of Caecilius. Sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. They said it in the movie. I can't remember honestly how they pronounced it, but as you guys know, Mads, I think, just like Benedict Cumberbatch, is one of the best actors working today. I think everything he does, which this movie in general is filled with some of the best actors and actresses working today. But he really, I was definitely looking forward to seeing what he was going to do here. Unfortunately, though, I was a bit let down by his character. While he definitely tries to do a lot with this role, he just doesn't have much to work with here. I mean, yeah, he has stuff to do, and don't get me wrong, when he's in it, he is definitely in it. He is in it, he's loving what he's doing, and you really do get those badass moments like you are expecting from Mads Mikkelsen, but unfortunately, he's just another throwaway Marvel villain. He's there for when he needs to be. They really could have developed this character more, and you don't really get much of a sense of what's really going on with this character, what his objective is. You don't, well, you kind of do, but it's just not really explored in the way I wanted to. I felt like there was a lot of tell, not show with him, a lot of spoken stuff, and I much rather would have wanted to see it play out, but he did do a really good job. I just felt that he wasn't as good as he could have been. He doesn't have much dialogue either, which that's one of the reasons why Mads Mikkelsen is so good, is because of his dialogue. Taking that away kind of was a detriment to his acting. I like what he did in the movie. He definitely was really good. I just felt like when you have someone of this caliber like Mads Mikkelsen, you gotta use him more. I mean, that's something that Marvel just doesn't do in general. They have villains that they don't really use a lot, but a lot of those villains are like relatively unknown actors, and when you have someone like Mads Mikkelsen, I would assume you'd use him more, but unfortunately they just didn't. I'm hoping that there's like an extended cut or something where they used him more, because I really think you could have utilized him better, and he definitely was one of the more disappointing things about this movie. He was really good for what he had, but unfortunately really didn't leave much of an impression on me. But because the cast was so good, I am willing to overlook that because he was very good and he did give a very good performance. It's not really actor problem. It's more of a screenplay problem, which we'll get into. So the cast really is great, which I expected. I expect the cast to really all give A-class performances, and they definitely do. But let's get into the directing and the screenplay, because I definitely do want to talk about the director here of Scott Derrickson. I think for the most part, he really did do a great job. He told a really great story here. The tone definitely was very on point. There are a couple times, though, where I think some of the humor really does not work. I mean, Strange is a character who cracks a lot of jokes, which I really was not expecting. They didn't really show much of that in the trailer. They had that one little joke with Mordu, but they didn't really show all the jokes that he was going to have, and it was about 50-50 for me. I think some of them worked, and then some of them I'm like, I don't really know why they thought that was funny. A lot of it just felt awkward. It didn't feel like humor. It just felt like he was saying something awkward, and I laughed because, oh, it's awkward, but it's not exactly funny. It's one of those things where you look back and you're like, was that really funny? Like, in general, I thought he did a good job with the pacing, definitely. I thought, not the pacing, the directing was fine, but I just felt some of the tones didn't really mesh as well as they could have, and I definitely think that's something that the movie did have a bit of a problem with. The screenplay, I think overall, was definitely very well done. I really did get into the story of Strange and, what was going on with him, and the story of, him being trained and everything. A lot of people have said that this is like Batman Begins, and I definitely would say that, but it doesn't have the epic feel that Batman Begins have. Definitely Batman Begins had a more epic feel, and this one just doesn't really have that. And I feel like it's because the movie is not, it's short, but it's not very short. It just, I think, could have been a little bit longer. I'll get into that, but the screenplay in this movie I overall really did like. I thought the story was very compelling. I definitely was really compelled to most of the characters. I feel that some of them could have had a lot more to do, definitely. There are a lot of things that are definitely skipped around from this movie. I don't know if they made edits or if things are reshot, but to me it felt like there definitely was some stuff cut out of this movie. Not nearly as much as some of the DC movies, but I felt like there definitely was some stuff cut out that I would have wanted to see, and I was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't there. But in general, I was very impressed with the screenplay. I like what we got with it overall. I think the story in general really was, I think, a really good story of, taking a character that, again, could be your typical narcissistic, prick and making him more human. I think Marvel just knows to do that really well. They really know how to make these characters human and make them relatable and make us really like them, and Strange is no different. I really did like what they had to do with that. There is a lot of exposition in this movie, and I think it's definitely need to be there, but there are some scenes where it's like, okay, cool it with the exposition. There definitely is an overabundance of exposition at points, and I think definitely they did a little too much as the movie went on. Definitely understood why I need to be there, but I think there definitely was a little bit too much. There are a lot of rules, definitely, but there was some stuff that I found very compelling, like, Strange going through this thing called the Mirror World. Just really cool stuff with that, and that really gets me into by far the best thing in this movie, which is the cinematography, which this by far is the best cinematography Marvel's ever done. I mean, I know I said Civil War was so great, but this movie, you could really tell they put all their budget into it, and it definitely does show. I mean, the cinematography is some of the best I've seen, honestly, maybe ever. I think the cinematography in this movie is gorgeous. I don't know how it turned out as good as it did. The scenes through the dream world are amazing. I think they did a really good job with that. There are going to be comparisons to Inception, but I really didn't get that from this. I think this was a little bit more basic than Inception. It wasn't basic, but it definitely isn't nearly as overly complicated as that movie is, and I think they did a good job with the overall. There's also some really good hand-to-hand combat action that I thought was really well done, and just in general, some very thrilling scenes that were very well utilized because of the gorgeous cinematography and the way it was done. There were some scenes that really did have me under my seat, and I think the action was very well filmed. Definitely, I think they did a really good job with that. But just as well filmed, I think, were the training scenes and things like that. Just the cinematography in general was just really well done. I was very impressed by it, and by far some of the best, maybe the best we've ever had in a Marvel film. Very impressed by it overall. Really good stuff there. The score to this movie was really, really great. It does sound like Star Trek at points. I definitely did see that. And that is because it is by Michael Giacchino, who's the same person that does the Star Trek score, so that's inevitable that that's going to happen. But I felt it just sounded exactly like Star Trek. It was very strange the way he did that. I don't know if that was intentional, but that definitely was kind of strange. The editing in this movie, I do have a bit of problems with. I think the movie was a little bit too short. Maybe if it would have been, maybe I think about 10 minutes longer, then I would have been a little bit more satisfied. You could have given more for Mads Mikkelsen's character to do. You just could have done more of the characters overall. What they did with them was great. I just feel they could have done more with them, and the movie would have been a little bit more, not memorable, but just a little bit more compelling, and I would have had a little bit more to say about it than the movie gives me. But overall, I was very impressed with what we got here, and I definitely really did like pretty much mostly everything about this movie. So now they've talked about the acting and everything I really like there, now I'm going to get into the spoilers, which, unlike other Marvel movies, there isn't a ton to really talk about because this is a very basic origin story, but there definitely is some stuff that I do really want to get into. So let's just get into it because I definitely do want to talk about it. So I will say that one of the many flaws I did have with this movie are the spoilers. While there definitely is some stuff that happens in this movie, nothing really of not importance is not the word, but nothing really that surprising happens in this movie. Like, I really could see everything coming from the beginning. The way that things turned out, just in general, I really could see happening. Like, for example, I knew that in some way the Ancient One had ties to, Mads Mikkelsen's character. I can't pronounce his name, but I knew she definitely did have ties to him. So when it was revealed that she was kind of working with him, I really was not surprised about that at all. I understood why she had to do that, obviously because, she needed to get on his good side in order to turn against him. I understood why that turned out the way it did, but I definitely saw that coming. I definitely thought that was going to happen. I didn't expect Wong to die. I definitely will say I did not expect Wong to end up dead. That was something I definitely was surprised about, but how much can you do with that character? I mean, I get it, definitely. There's only so many jokes they could have done with him. I understood why they had to kill him off. But what I really do want to talk about are the last two post-credit scenes. First of all, the ending of the movie, the way the movie ends, where, first of all, we see that, we now see that Strange is going to get the next Infinity Stone to Carnage, we see, which I thought was interesting to see. But we see Strange at the end of this movie, and he's visited there by Thor, who's actually brought Loki to Earth to search for their father, and this sets up Thor Ragnarok. Now, my big question is Strange possibly going to be in Ragnarok? I mean, there has to be a way to connect Strange in the rest of the Marvel Universe, which he definitely feels a little bit out of place, but look at Thor, look at Ant-Man, look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, look how out of place those characters were. I feel like Strange, it's going to work. I know a lot of people have said, oh, this isn't really going to work because of how overly complicated things are. But again, look at those characters. They fit in so well. I think Strange will be no different. I think he definitely is going to fit well in here. But by introducing him in Thor Ragnarok, I think it's definitely going to be a really good way to do that by getting him right into the Marvel Universe. Having him side by side with Thor and with Hulk, I think works very well, and I could definitely see him doing that. But I think that definitely is where we're headed. We'll have to see, though. Definitely, it's going to be interesting to see. But the other one I was more impressed by was the scene with Mordu when he goes to visit Pangborn, who Pangborn was a patient that Strange saved because Strange gave him the ability to walk. He couldn't walk, so Strange gave him the ability to walk, but we see that Mordu actually takes it away because he feels that there are too many sorcerers, and he wants to go after the sorcerers, so you definitely get the sense that he probably is going to be the villain in the next movie, which I am all for. I think it makes perfect sense, and he has a really clear motivation, which is something a lot of these villains don't have in Marvel movies. This one definitely does. He was betrayed. He wants to be the apprentice, but not the apprentice. He wants to be the apprentice of, the Ancient One. He doesn't want Strange to take his place, and you totally understand why. He could have come across as very petulant in this decision, but you totally understand why he's doing that, and I can't wait to see where that's going to go. But that, in general, really got me pumped for the next movie. There's going to be Doctor Strange 2 at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it definitely is going to come. But overall, like I said, not a ton of spoilers to talk about. If there's something I forgot, let me know, because I definitely do want to talk about it if I forgot about it. But like I said, to me, I thought this was a very basic film. There wasn't a ton, but I did want to talk about those few things, because I definitely have a lot to say about it. And I think definitely overall, those two post-credit scenes really did make me a lot more hyped than this movie if they weren't there. And that's one of the reasons why I love post-credit scenes so much, is that they really do get you hyped for the next movie, and they do a very good job of setting up the next movie really well. So overall, guys, Doctor Strange is another really great entry into the Marvel series. I overall was very impressed by this movie. Like I said, I do have a few flaws with it, such as the Mads Mikkelsen's character being very underused, and I think a lot of the directions it went in very predictable. But the way the movie ended and the way things were, because of the positives being so high, it's very hard to, let the negatives really gripe me, really, affect me with how I really do feel about this movie. This movie really does have high-class cinematography. It is a very well-done story, and just overall was very well done. And overall, I am going to give Doctor Strange a 4 to 5 or a B+. I really enjoy this one overall. I don't think it's as good as some of the other Marvel films, but overall, it's a very good introduction into this character. I think he did a really good job with getting us into this world, and definitely sets up what could be a very compelling story. I can't wait to see where else we're going to go with this character. Definitely looking forward to seeing where we are headed in future entries, and definitely looking forward to seeing mostly how they reinvigorate this character into the Marvel world overall. But that's it for you, Doctor Strange. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. Have seen, love to your thoughts on it. Do you think it worked as a Marvel film? Are you looking forward to seeing Doctor Strange in other entries? What do you think of the post-credit scenes? If you do talk about the post-credit scenes, please put a spoiler tag. Definitely do that. But that's my review. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the series premiere of the new Netflix show, The Crown, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.